Hello everyone! Today I want to talk about death of a Spaceman again and some new information. Here we have the article from February 2013 that Chris wrote. Link to this is in my first pinned comment below.
Every death creates wear and tear on your body. Depending on where you were hit and how you died, your character may require a new body part, which can either be cybernetic or organic. Eventually, after too many deaths, your character's body will just give out, and instead of waking up in a medbay, you'll be attending the funeral of your fallen character from the eyes of the beneficiary you specified when originally creating your character. Reputation and faction alliances pass onto your new character, but slightly diminished.
At CitizenCon 2023, Chris was talking about skills. I guess if you get skills, they will be transferred to your next of kin, diminished too. In October 2020, Chris was talking about death of a Spaceman again.
Death of the Spaceman was sort of an idea to give an association with your player character in the game, in terms of this is who you are and you want to keep yourself alive as possible. Had one too many close calls or lost one too many battles, you no longer can be resuscitated, and you have to pass on essentially to your next of kin. Your possessions and reputation kind of passed down, but not all of them, right? So there's always, there's inheritance tax. So in states that you may consider you would be dead now, you would not be able to be brought back to life or repaired. Potentially we could do that in the future, but maybe we could only do it so many times. And so, in some ways, it's a little like the old school of you've got so many lives, right? And once your lives are done, the game's over.
Now, the interesting question is, how many deaths until permadeath? In July 2021, Chris answered this.
The respawn in a place away is now being sort of covered by the fiction of you've recorded your DNA and you're cloning, but the bottom line is, if you got atomized in an explosion on a planet somewhere, how are you finding that body to recreate the person? That just doesn't actually make much logical sense. So the kind of concept we would have is that you can only have so many times you can come back to life, which is basically you've sort of recorded off, you've taken a little bit of your DNA and you can grow a clone, but you can only do that 3 or 4 times. It's like having 3 or 4 lives. After that, you've degraded too much. Your DNA's degraded too much, and you're basically permanently dead. And your next of kin will sort of take over in the game, which is the sort of death of spaceman mechanic. So it's exactly the same as the death of spaceman mechanic that we had before, which was you had only so many lives before you would go on to have to pass on to your next of kin. But just scientifically working, it's all hand waving at this point, but it just sort of logically sort of makes a bit more sense, and also allows players a choice if they don't want to wait around to see if someone can rescue them or find them, because it may not be dead. If you die on a planet, or you freeze to death on a planet and no one's around to come get you, that's not a fun game experience.
When you froze our youngest daughter?
Yeah, it's not a fun game experience. You may want to just respawn back in New Babbage.
There's some scientific misunderstanding. Yes, if you die, your DNA will degrade. Yes, if you burn to death, there won't be much left to reconstruct your whole body. But if I want to, I can just have my DNA in a freezer and the DNA will be good for thousands of years. I can also just sequence my DNA and reconstruct it if I need it. Your DNA has all the information to reconstruct a clone, but your DNA doesn't have your life experience, so I don't know how this is supposed to work. Chris was very specific. You can only die 3 or 4 times, then you will move on to a next of kin. Your next of kin will not inherit all your money, not will get all your reputation, and most likely won't get all your skills. And then we got a medical Ursa promo video, May 2024.
You're probably thinking I'm a goner. But the thing is, I've died 1,000 times. Because a regen has always been the strategy. Let's do this.
How does? You can only come back 3 to 4 times, and I died 1,000 times fit together? Well, it does not. To this day, CRG never clarified this. How is this supposed to work, Chris? I guess even Chris realized by now that most players don't like the idea of permadeath. When we got the Medical Ursa promo video, there are postings on Spectrum and Reddit. Yeah, permadeath is off the table, no more permadeath. Yeah, we are so happy. Well, hold your horses. Here we have what CRT calls a roadmap. This is not a roadmap, this is just a release view for the very next patch. But we have something new. We have Star Citizen 1.0. Of course, there's no date when this will arrive. Gameplay tentative. Death of a Spaceman, introducing permadeath and associated consequences to Star Citizen. This means permadeath is not off the table, permadeath will come with 1.0. Chris, we really need a clarification. Can we die 1,000 times or can we die 3 to 4 times until permadeath? And if it's not 1,000 times, why did you make your Medical Ursa promo video? Was this just to sell a new vehicle? I'm altering the deal, pray I don't alter it any further. I'm not a fan of Death of a Spaceman, no other MMO ever did this for a reason. Exceptions are very specific game modes like for example hardcore, but this is a choice a player makes. Do I want to play the normal game or do I want to play hardcore? Star Citizen has a lot of griefers already, the release of Pyro clearly showed this. Those griefers will be a lot more happy if they can permadeath your character or at least give you a new scar and prosthetics. Star Citizen is a space game, some things should take time, we are not supposed to teleport all over a system and I like this. However, Star Citizen is already time sink galore and it will get worse. Much worse with permadeath. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Fuck. Hey, you're still here. You might want to join me on Twitter. My Twitter account is Camural_SC.